Welcome food fans, picky eaters, the flavor curious, and everyone in between. Nothing makes good food better than good conversation. And your table is ready. Welcome back to another episode of the Food for Thoughtcast with your hosts, Melissa Reagan and Steven Gonzalez. But you can call them Chef. All right, let's get this episode started.
Hey there, food fans. Welcome back to the Food for Thoughtcast with me, your host, Melissa Reagan, and my co-host with the most, Chef Steven Gonzalez. What's going on, Steve?
Hey, buddy. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Fantastic. It's been a fun day so far, and now we get to talk. It's even more fun.
Now we get to have more fun. We are joined today by Jim Lenzen. He is the owner of Jimmy L's out of Sidney, Nebraska. How's it going, Jim?
Good. How are you guys?
Fantastic. This is an interesting story. This is the first time we ever had somebody reach out to the podcast first to be a guest. So this is a red letter day. Yeah, like this is a banner day. So amazing. Jim, what's going on? How's your week been? I understand you're settling down from a busy season.
Crazy. We just got home from fair season, so I got here at 4:00 Monday afternoon, ran to my flag football practice that we always volunteered to do, cooked a dinner that night, cooked a dinner last night, and today's the first day nothing happened. So it's been amazing.
Nice.
Today's your first day to catch your breath, and you're slumming it with us over here. I like it.
No, it's awesome.
We appreciate that very much.
I like it. Yeah. We know life gets busy. I have to share that Jim contacted me some time ago, and I travel for my job, and Steven and I, both being chefs, and Steve, this is what I told Jim. I was like, hey, sometimes it's hard for us to schedule time to record too. Because it's a crazy, as you know, Jim, the industry is like, it's a harsh mistress. So it's like, you're either going 90,000 miles an hour or it's famine for a couple of days. And when the days where you don't have anything going on, you just want to sleep. So Jim, we always start every episode, we start it right at the top by asking each other what the most amazing thing that we ate this week was. It could also be the most amazing thing you cooked, either way, but we're going to kick it off with you since you're our guest today.
All right. Well, since I just got home Monday, the most amazing thing I've eaten this week was anything cooked at home.
Yes.
So, and that has been, I think we've had omelets like at 11 o'clock every night this week, except for last night. So,
okay, that sounds incredible.
Breakfast for dinner. Yeah, totally.
It's kind of our go-to. Great. It's our go-to.
There's something that's inherently comforting about an omelet. It's something, interesting. It's like, I don't never make one for myself at home, but that sounds amazing right now.
It's always, I guess for us, we cook nonstop. So
yeah.
And the one thing we never, ever go out and eat unless we're traveling is breakfast. So omelets and breakfast probably twice a week for us usually.
Yeah. I mean, so it's kind of like a treat. You never get it otherwise. Yeah. I love that.
Me too. That's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Anything home cooked? Yes, that's a winner. Love it. What about you, Steve?
Just leftovers. We had some friends over the other night, and we grilled wings and poppers, and we stuffed those poppers with brisket and just, dips and chips, stuff like that. So we've been getting creative with our leftovers, so we're making like wing pizzas and stuffing the crust dough with like cheese and making it real creamy and cheesy, stuff like that. I think that's been the winner so far,
Nice. That's the thing about omelets too, though, is I was going to say, like, it's a good clean out the fridge item.
Yeah.
Omelets and fried rice is basically
About it.
like, yeah, almost anything. Pizza, like it's a good like leftover trap.
Oh yeah.
I'm in a phase of life right now where I'm trying to remember. It's not that Jim, if you don't know, I recently moved here like 2 weeks ago from Dallas. I moved to North Carolina. And so I am in this weird space where waiting for a restaurant to open and kind of working from home in the meantime, which is very, very odd for chefs. But it's also like, it means that I'm trying to meal prep more, but I'm in that phase where I'm eating everything 4 or 5 times. So I want to clue the listeners in. Jim was so kind. He sent brisket and pulled pork for me to try before we recorded this evening, which basically sorted out my meal prep. Now I portioned it out and froze it because I was like, oh my God, there's so much. There's no way. I had brisket last night with roasted Yukons. I didn't put any sauce on it, just in the interest of being like a fair judge. It was really delicious. I love whatever rub was on it. I know that there was some pepper, at least on the outside. The smoke ring was really great. And I think it's a testament to barbecue. Is like, I don't like barbecue smothered in sauce, but like whether or not it needs sauce is like the real test. So
I tell all our customers, they're like, will you sauce this? And I was like, absolutely not. If somebody hands you food that is sauce, they are hiding something. So that's the way I feel about it.
Yeah. I got in the mood for green bean casserole, even though it's in the 90s and nowhere near close to Thanksgiving. So there's green bean casserole in my fridge, roasted Yukon potatoes, and paired it with your brisket. And that was the most amazing thing I've had this week.
Nice.
Nice.
Yeah.
Good.
So thank you so much
Sounds
for your
good.
generosity. And I have plans for all of it. Some of that brisket's going to get diced up and do a half batch of chili. Some of that pulled pork is going to go on slider buns with coleslaw. Like, I have plans. It's just like, it's good. It's like 2 weeks worth of food. Because I've kind of been at one meal a day.
You said that much, huh?
Well,
Wow.
I only sent like a pound.
It wasn't.
Or a pound and a half of beef.
It wasn't.
Melissa, are you eating like an ounce per meal or what?
No, I'm just like.
I don't know. I got home. So that day I sent that. I actually drove home from Rapid City, South Dakota. I left at 4 a.m. We shut down the fair about 1:30 that night. So I drove home because I had to make Alfredo sauce for my wife for a wedding that night. So I was like, man, I got to ship this. So I hurried up, sliced it, shoved it in there. So you might have got way more than.
No. I mean, I think it was about a pound total. I'm just in this phase of life where I'm doing like maybe a protein shake or some yogurt and then like one big meal. And especially when it's hot, it's like, I don't eat 2 or 3 meals a day. It's just like, man. Now, if I was on the go, I'd be like racing all day, but I don't do anything right now. So yeah. So it is going to afford me several little snacks,
Good.
which is greatly appreciated. I liked the pork as well. I was like a little bit. I hope that you won't take offense at me saying this, but when I first opened the package, I was like, oh man, because I'm a really big fan of bark on pork. But I did without it, right? Like I was like, oh, it looks fatty, but it wasn't. It was just like first impression opening the package. So it was delicious.
Yeah. No, and I'm not a huge bark fan. So
I mean,
I serve
2 inches,
my stuff the way I want to eat it. So.
Wait, no, absolutely.
I love
you should.
that. Yeah.
And there are as many options out. I could throw a rock and hit 8 types of barbecue. You know what I mean? Like there are as many options out there as people want. But and I think I heard you speak to this a couple of times on the other podcast that you were on. But like the point is that it's consistent and it's done very well. Right. And so, there's as many regional types of barbecue as there are like, butterflies in the world. But, there's only one Jimmy L's, right? So
there is.
Yeah.
So, Jim, for the people who don't know about you, tell us a little bit about your story.
Yeah. Give us your elevator pitch.
Oh, man. That's always a tough one. So I've been cooking since I've been little. I mean, a lot, ended up working with a bunch of guys 20 years ago in the wind industry when we got towers out here. That was my go-to job. And every Friday in that business, it is a tradition to barbecue. Well, I was new. I'm very outspoken and I'm very blunt. So I was new. And the first time we barbecue, they spend, man, like $500 on steaks, these thick, beautiful 2-inch cooked or cut ribeyes.
Yeah.
And then they just absolutely destroyed them.
Oh no.
I come home and I'm new and I'm keeping my mouth shut, which is not what I normally do. And I'm coming home and I'm on the phone with my wife and she's like, how was your day? I was like, it was horrible. It was horrible. It was just, so that happened like 3 times. And finally I told him, I said, anybody touches that grill without my permission, I'm breaking fingers. And so there I ended up cooking for those guys, which was our team was anywhere from about 15 to 35 at the time.
Oh, wow.
So almost once a month guaranteed every Friday, if not 2 or 3 times during the month, I would cook for 20, 30 people. And then it got where we were taking requests and it was a whole deal. And, so then I went from there and I went to teaching. I built and engineered a WIN program for the local college. And I ended up with, again, about between 20 and 40 students. Well, we cooked for them all the time. They became my guinea pigs because we had just kicked this off right before I went to teaching, because I had done a barbecue for one of my coworkers at the Turbines. We were going to drink beer, cook all night, drink more beer. Well, he ends up having this massively huge party. Well, that party led to a wedding. My other buddy that I worked with, he got me into a fair. We didn't have a refrigerator. We didn't have a counter. We didn't have a trailer. And he's like, here you go, Jim. You got 2 months to figure this out.
So that's my kind of deal. Like,
oh yeah, full way I do everything. Face first, full dive in the deep end and roll with it.
Yeah, figure out the details later, right?
Yeah, we ended up losing $200 that first year, paid everything that we had bought to do it, came up 200 in the hole. That led to a couple more weddings, and then that was it. Here we are, quit teaching a couple years ago and to pursue this full time, and we've watched our business triple and last every year.
Oh wow.
So,
that's incredible. Like, what a story.
Yeah, one crappy trailer to now we have 3, and still that same one crappy trailer. And, we cater 40 to 50 weddings a summer, and cater all throughout the winter, and run. Wow. I don't know. I think we knocked out 35 trailer events this year. Maybe I know we had about 18 major ones. So we go a lot.
Now, I'm sure you get this question quite a bit, but what's your specialty?
We are known for our brisket. We are very well known for our brisket.
I would ask for trade secrets, but I'm afraid I might be told no. But
I really don't care.
Yeah,
I really don't care.
There's a lot to be said about, like, people are always afraid to give out recipes, especially if they're any part of the industry, right? But there's a lot of things that you can do and probably put into the process, and the love and the dedication of the time. It cannot be replicated.
Yeah,
absolutely not. Like, it doesn't. You could publish all your recipes on the internet, but never going to taste the same as they do when you and your team makes it.
So I'm a weird one. I pull briskets at a certain temperature like everybody does. But I feel everything.
Of course.
Right? Like I do a poke test with everything. You may have a brisket at the temperature I pull, and it doesn't have the feel, so it stays, and the rest of its friends come off, and I feel everything. Yeah. Actually, on my cookers, one of my cookers, the thermometer's broke. I don't even know what temperatures I cook at anymore. I know my cookers. I've got 5 of them, and I know where they're supposed to be, and it just works.
Then Jim's over here living on the edge, man.
Right.
Well, let's go back to teaching really quickly. So is that related to WIN or something else?
So it started out as a WIN program. They had the company I worked for helped fund this college start this WIN program, and this was back in 09, 06, somewhere around in there. Mm-hmm. And that WIN was just it was new, and regionally for us, it was like the best game in town. if you wanted something that was going to give you amazing insurance and amazing benefits. And, I had been in it, sold my first business, been in it, and loved the work, hated the physicality of climbing those things straight up, 3,
That's
4.
terrifying. That's my worst nightmare.
Most, it's a 300 vertical climb.
No, thank you very much.
And so,
Wow.
and we do that 2 times almost every single day, and it just wears you out. And I was training for 3 years before I went and teach, and my boss, who his daughter actually just started working with us last week. But anyway, Tony's like, look, he's like, here's an opportunity. He's like, I know you love to build businesses. This would be amazing for you. I think he could see the burnout. And so, I jumped into that and really saw what I was teaching. And I was watching my guys who were, because everything in a wind turbine can make every single factory, brewery, anything that has a motor or has electricity is in a wind turbine. So hydraulics, pneumatic, everything except for pneumatics. But anyway, so I knew I was watching, like the first year I graduated, students, they all went to wind because that's the only thing I knew. The next year I graduated, another handful of students. Well, I had 3 go off into other industries. Well, they're making $65,000 at 22 years old. And I'm going, wait a minute, there's something to this.
Right.
So I started doing a bunch of research that year and realizing it's conveyor belts, it's sensors, it's PLCs, it's all this stuff. By the time I graduated, this will blow your guys' mind. By the time I graduated, the last group of kids I turned out, 80% went non-wind, starting at no less than $65,000 out of college, with my highest taken 89.
Oh,
wow.
22 years old. You know where I'd have been at 22 years old with
I know where I was at
$89,000? I'd have been in jail with a very big smile on my face.
Oh, I thought you meant like amount of money earned. I was like, God, what was I making at 22? I think it was like,
I wasn't making that.
I think it was like 20 an hour, and I was like real lucky to have it.
Yeah, no, these guys are making $40-$50 an hour and 20 hours overtime.
So,
is just unreal. So
pardon my ignorance, but in the industry that you were in before you were teaching, and then like pre being in food, right? Was that considered engineering, or was it like purely mechanics, or I don't
all of it? So So I'm a control electrician.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so that's what we were good at, is electrical work. But the type of electricity that we do is not journeyman recognized. So unless you work on high voltage, journeymans don't recognize what you do. We're the people that can take your lights and make them do 1,000 different things. We make your motors turn on and off with one push of a button.
It's really cool.
We control every single thing you do. And then at the flip side of that, we might change gearboxes and change bearings. And so it was the most amazing teaching vessel in the world,
because it's kind of like if you learned all the components, then you could really approach any piece of machinery or anything like that.
And in that, you're working, it was 2 people that attacked this $1 million piece of machine, and it was you or the machine. And pride kicks in, and you forget about time and money and everything. All you want to do is fix and be the conqueror.
Yeah.
Do you use these skills now? Do you find that you use them for anything in the restaurant business? I mean, besides the obvious, but
that's our big trade secret. Is
it?
We designed. So
are you pushing buttons to make instant brisket? Is that what's happening?
Not instant brisket, but I can tell you this. With all the people that I have for the 10 years of kids I have raised and who've gone to factories and stuff, when I press a button in 4 minutes, I have chopped brisket, whole brisket, completely chopped. All I have to do is cut it and trim the fat I want off of it.
Oh, wow.
What?
Well, my next question would be, it
awesome.
sounds like you're great at teaching. So do you ever teach people like barbecue and stuff like that?
All my buddies,
All your
I
buddies.
mean, our town has 5,000 people in it. So
Oh, wow.
there's, I could run a class on it, but, I know almost everybody here. So they just come in, they stop in and get the free lessons. So no, I've never.
I
I
mean,
was gonna
you
say-
could like do some things on YouTube and get people to pay. And I'm like, give me a side hustle.
Or,
And that's the problem with YouTube for me is since I'm a classroom teacher and during COVID, they're like, you have to teach online. I'm like, no, there's no way. I teach stuff that you have to feel and see. And so
yeah. It's like
we're
teaching
working on
somebody
talking into the
culinary
camera.
school on Zoom.
just a thought, if you go out of town for like a wedding catering or something like that, you could do it like the day before where you teach them barbecue and they're making their own food. Of course, you're overseeing everything, and then you charge another fee for teaching them. Just a thought.
That's a great idea. I'll get some eye on that. But
it's like
what our
instant
weekends consist of? This will blow your mind. So our weekends. So last Friday we ran all three we ran both trailers, 2 in South Dakota. Tamaya and Tamara went and did a bachelorette party, which they had a lot of fun at, by the way. And my wife did a wedding. And then Saturday it was one trailer event, another wedding, another dinner. Every weekend we do that. 2 trailer events, 2 weddings, guaranteed every single Saturday.
So what came first? Was it catering? Was it the food truck? Was it like what happened? What that journey look like?
All of it.
All of it. All
literally,
together.
Melissa, the guys I worked with said, you're doing this. The only reason I'm talking to you is because of Tony and Alan. And they said, you're doing this.
Isn't it incredible to have somebody in your life that sees a little potential and then goes like, do this thing?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I had, when I walked away from teaching, I was like, and I'm looking at the first year going, holy smokes, what just happened? Because when school started, I was on a 161-day contract. When school started, I put Jimmy L's completely on hold other than, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I'd work, so I'd go to the shop at 7 with an hour drive to get there, be home at hopefully by 7 to 9, cook till 2 or 3 every morning, and then do it again, and then run a trailer event on Saturday and a pair of weddings on Saturday.
Dude, I don't miss catering. I don't miss that life.
It's tough.
It's tough. Yeah.
It's
tough.
You're like busboy, dishwasher, bartender, setup, roadie.
But I have a great team, so it makes it so easy.
Yeah. That always helps.
Yeah.
We're looking back at this thing that first year, and I'm like, talk to my good buddy Tony Welsh out in California. I was like, Tony, I can't believe I just did this. He's like, oh, I knew you'd do that. He's like, you should have done this sooner. But it is what it is. I wouldn't give teaching up. The 10 years I taught are the best. There's nothing I've ever done better.
I mean, it's shaped who you are. Like, all of our experiences do, like there's a whole bunch of things in my life that I'm sure that, that success is not a straight line. And so to get where I am now, I worked some jobs that like, you couldn't pay me to go back to them, but I'm glad I worked them.
Oh, sure.
It molds like your entire experience.
Yeah, no, teaching's my retirement job. When I retire, I'm going back to teaching in some fashion. So
there's no retirement in this business. I'm gonna get buried underneath a deep fryer somewhere.
No, I'm addicted to it.
Yeah. Once it gets in you, you just can't get rid of that. You can't shake that bug. It's good. It's a great feeling.
It's like being jumped in and out of a gang. Like you can't get out.
Yeah.
You can't.
There's some truth to that. One of my very good vending buddies. He lives out in Florida. He runs a fishing charter service, and he comes back every summer to vend and makes, I don't even know if he makes any money. He's just so addicted to it. He's like, I just love doing it. And I was like, man, why don't you give it up and just go fishing every day? And he's like, no, I can't. I'm addicted to it.
Can't. Just Jones for it.
Yeah.
You try to do other things, and then you're like, oh,
well, for us, we travel so much, so we get so we have like two families. We have our winter family, and then we have our summer family, and our summer family all runs food trailers, and it's just amazing. And we stay,
That's awesome.
In the winter we get a chance to go spend time together, and it's good.
Nice.
That's amazing.
So you said you're out of Nebraska, correct?
Yes, sir. Western Nebraska.
Western Nebraska. And so Melissa and I have talked barbecue, any kind of food. You have all sorts of regions, even if it's in, like, for example, the state of Texas, there's all sorts of types of Mexican food. Like, what's different about Nebraska, or like your style of barbecue versus like other styles?
Well, out here, there isn't a style. We're just,
right.
We're close to Kansas City. We're close to Texas. I mean, we're just kind of a melding pot. And then for me, I just, my ribs are probably very Kansas City style. My brisket's probably more Texas style, except for I trim a ton of the fat off of it. And
I would say it was very close to Texas style.
Yeah.
And I wasn't quite sure, to be honest, because I was like, what does barbecue look like in Nebraska?
Pork's pork. I'm sorry, but
it's pork.
Anybody can cook a pork butt, but that's just,
not well, but yes.
True, but no, I just, I'm not a chef or haven't been to culinary school, and so I love YouTube, TikTok. I'm always experimenting, learning. I always set goals for myself every year on new things I want to learn and do. So in the culinary world, and then I just try stuff.
Nice. Now, you were saying earlier too, if you put sauce on something, it's covering something up. Like, do you use sauce at all, or is it like strictly I don't do sauce, period?
No, the only thing I put sauce on, and I cook the sauce on it, is ribs and burn-ins. That's the only two things I sauce. And if you want to get ribs without sauce, I'll give you ribs without sauce. But that's the only two things that we put sauce on. And
so when you say that you put sauce on the ribs, are you mopping it while you cook them, or are you like
last
serving
30
it on
minutes?
Top? Okay.
We throw it on
finishing
last 30
them.
minutes.
Okay, got it.
Get a glaze more.
And how would you describe the sauces? Like, are they more Texas, North Carolina, Kansas City style?
No, they come out of Oklahoma. They're good stuff. I don't have time. We cook. It blow your mind how much brisket we go through, but I don't have time to make seasonings. I don't have time to make barbecue sauce. We buy it in the bulk, but we use only premium stuff. There's guys out there that they know how to do that. They have perfected it, and I don't see any reason to reinvent the wheel.
Dude, I completely respect that, because there are a lot of people out there that would super scoff at. They would be like, "Oh my God, I can't believe he told us that he buys sauce." But if you're like, "Hey, I don't have the bandwidth for this," realistically, right? Then the next best thing you can do is find a product you believe in and stand behind it and use it and source like the best thing.
Yeah.
Now, I'll mix seasonings. I'm notorious for mixing seasonings. So, but yeah, I only use premium stuff. And, once I find something that works, I don't mess with it.
I mean, in this business, I think it takes a lot of like guts to be like, hey, I don't, I found the best thing that I can do. Like, somebody else does this better than we could, or somebody else does this in a way that I really like, and we're going to use it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
But it's a good thing in the sense of like marketing for this company out of Oklahoma, where if someone says, "Man, I love this sauce," you can say, "Hey, you can go to this website, pick up some sauce if you love it that much," versus I'm the only one who can make this, and if I can't make it, then you're out of luck. So I actually really like that, because you're helping other businesses. Y'all are just working together, and it's a great thing. And again, if it tastes great, the rest is up to the customer to say, "I love this," or "I really love this."
It's one of those things in this business is like, I'm sorry, Jim. It's one of those things in this business where you don't have to punch down to get up, right? Like there's a lot of space for everybody. And I think it's really great. Like when you can partner and, it's like, okay, well, either the sauce helps you sell the brisket or your brisket helps sell the sauce. Doesn't matter which way it happens. Right. Look, everybody wins.
Together, they're magic.
It's magic.
Exactly.
Everybody wins.
You guys both know this. This is a cutthroat industry.
Mm-hmm.
Food is such a cutthroat industry, and we don't compete against anybody. Could care less what you do. If you want to sell brisket right across the street from mine, yours better be damn good. You know, and that's, but if you want to go for it, come over, we'll be friends. I'll help you, but then I'll crush you.
Yeah.
You know,
but at the end of the day, like, you're only competing against yourself. You just need to be better than you were yesterday.
Better every day than you did yesterday.
Yeah.
And that's it. That's all you can do. Control what you can control.
Jim, did you grow up cooking? You said you grew up.
Yeah.
You were cooking ever since you were little. Do you have any like first food memories, or did somebody teach you, or?
Well, my poor mom, she's going to hate this. This will be the third time.
Now you have to say this. Yes.
Yeah. My mom loves to cook. My mom can cook occasionally very, very well. But most of the time, it's not that great.
Like the stars have to line up.
Yes. And so I've been cooking for our family since I've probably been 10 years old, dinner at night. So, and I just more and more, you know, it started with breakfast because that's the easy thing. And mom did teach me how to make breakfast. And, you know, once she realized I was way better at it than she was, I think she turned me loose. And then breakfast turned into dinner. And my old man says the high school years were tough. You weren't around. She
outsourced, dude.
Yeah. So, but no, I've cooked. You know, we've always, since we've been married 25 years.
Congratulations.
We've always done Thanksgiving for our entire family. And then when I worked in the turbines, any of the contractors that didn't have a place to go, so if they were out of town, you'd get people from all over. So if they were stuck here for Thanksgiving week, they had no choice, but they had to come to our house. Aww. And so we would have 20 people for Thanksgiving. And then when I went to teaching, it was no longer contractors. It was kids or students. And so they had to come to my house. And we had some really fun Thanksgivings.
Nice.
So
I bet that meant so much to those college kids. Like, that's amazing.
Oh yeah. I mean, we worked 12 to 15 hours every single day in a tiny little shop with very limited resources. So we had to be resourceful. We had to use everybody's opinions. And so we're so amazingly close still to this day. You know, I talk to one of my kids every single day.
Man,
you know, so
that's amazing.
So it sounds like Thanksgiving's one of your favorite holidays then, huh?
It is.
But I mean, every holiday is a good holiday to cook something, you know?
Wow.
So is there any kind of specialty that you got, like, for example, Easter or 4th of July, things like that?
No, Thanksgiving's really our last holiday that we cook, really get after it, because Christmas, we're running Christmas parties and we're here in and out. Thanksgiving's great because we smoke probably 200 turkeys Thanksgiving week. And we sell, and then we shut that off at Wednesday at like 5:30, and all my family shows up. They come down to the venue and tend to find our way behind the bar, and we have a really good Thanksgiving night.
Like you do.
Nice.
I
don't drink anymore, so it's not nearly as crazy as it used to be, but when my brother and I got together, so.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, for me, Easter, it's like always lamb. 4th of July, it's more, you know, just any and everything, steaks, all that fun stuff. And I find any excuse to cook and have fun with it and invite friends over. So yeah, I know exactly what you mean by you were the one cooking for everyone, you know. And it feels, I don't know about y'all, but like it's such a high to see everyone enjoying your food, you know. It just makes you happy.
Yeah. Chef Steve will cook out for any holiday.
Nice.
Oh, yeah.
He's like, President's Day?
I don't care if it's a Wednesday. We're doing it, yeah.
No, that's nice.
Like, it's a Tuesday, I'm making a roast. Come over here.
Yeah.
Well, going to your point, Steve, so as my company has gotten bigger, I have 3 20-year-olds. They're 20-something. But Tamaya, Sophia, and Isaac, and they run our company. They run every aspect of our company, and I just get out of their way and every once in a while I'll say, hey, let's do it this way. And they say, no, that's stupid. We're doing it our way. And I just say, okay, I'll go back to the kitchen where I'm needed. But anyway, so these guys completely run everything. So
Yeah.
I find myself almost having no home at times. So when I'm at the fairs, I'll cook these guys dinner, and our vendor neighbors at this last fair, they're like, what do you mean you're making a pot roast in your cooker in the middle of July or August at the state fair? I was like, well, you want some? Like, yes. So, my job now is to cook. So even when I'm not cooking, I'm cooking for those guys. And every day, our whole team, I cook them lunch every day. And, we sit down and eat lunch together. And, food to me is a way to conversation and ideas.
It brings people together. The whole point of this podcast.
Food's one of the most amazing things ever.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I love the fact that you can have two people from completely different sides of the world, and you talk about food and they will open up to you, you know, and it's just a magical thing. So yeah, that's awesome.
So being from Texas, I, up until this year, was an avid fair goer to the State Fair of Texas, and an avid eater of all the fair foods. How did you get involved in fairs? Like, what did that entail?
Well, like I said, my coworker, he made a phone call. He's like, all right, Jimbo, you're in the fair. And I was like, what? I don't even know how to do this. He's like, you'll figure it out. He's like, your stuff's good. You'll figure it out. And so one fair led to another fair. And then, we started doing as many little events, because I saw the writing on the wall. Like, I could see this turning into something if I was willing to work at it. So I kept chipping away, and then we're getting into bigger events, and it just kind of materialized. This was our 16th fair season. So
how long did those go? Like, what's it like in being in the state fair? Like, are you there for like 2 weeks, or how does that work?
The Central States Fair, which is in Rapid City, South Dakota, it's 10 days. So it's wild. So for us, we were in Sturgis at the Glencoe campground. So we were able just to pack up and go straight to the fair with a 30-minute drive, which hardly ever happens. And so, but then you're in for a whole setup, and, you get everything set up, moved in, meet the neighbors, catch up on old times. And then it's just super long, hot days that are extremely boring until they're not. And then they're crazy. And then they're back to boring. You clean up, you do it over. I mean, takes a very dedicated person and maybe a very dumb person to do it all at the same time. But it's fun. I wouldn't trade it for anything. I meet some of the most amazing people.
Nice.
So so you have the fair that what did you call the fair that was in Rapid City?
That one's the Central States Fair.
The Central States. Okay. Are there others?
Oh yeah. We do. Are
they like county fairs, or like?
We do county fairs. We do big festivals. Okay. One of the biggest festivals we do is the Greeley Stampede. We do all kinds of stuff. Cheyenne Frontier Days is close to us, but we don't do that because of the price is ridiculous, and I'm just not. I'm not. They can keep their money. So
I was gonna say, oh no, we have a friend of the show and a fellow podcaster, Jacob Roth, that's been on with us, and he is on the radio somewhere in Cheyenne, and he's like a huge fan of Frontier Days.
No, Frontier Days is awesome. They just charge too much for Jimmy L's to be part of it.
Oh man, that's a bummer. Just set up right outside.
Yeah, no, I've had some opportunities, but I don't know. I love festivals. Festivals are awesome. Festivals, whether it's a music festival, a fair, or whatever. And we're very rural, very, very rural. So the county fair is like the only thing that happens all year. And
wow,
you have some of the places we do fairs have less than 1,000 people in them. But all the small towns show up. The beer garden's a great thing, and it's just a super good time.
I love that. Well, talk to us about the biker rally.
The rally's wild.
I've heard.
Like, I can tell stories about it, but you wouldn't even believe them. It's something you have to see for yourself. But the one thing I can tell you about the rally is the people are the most amazing people. I think this year we fed people from everywhere, but I think 4 states. I think there was 4 states that we didn't feed somebody from, and had a conversation with everybody. That's awesome. And people just come out to the rally, they forget themselves, and they enjoy themselves. It's a free-flowing, free-spirited event, and it's amazing. The campground we work out of is the wildest one of them all. It's full you bear all if you want to. And so you get to see some crazy
all
things.
The
but you talk to these people that are, my main takeaway from the rally this year is I met a guy by the name of Toby, and he's from South Carolina. And he was probably mid 60s, late 50s. He had just got diagnosed with Parkinson's disease in March. He'd never been west of the Mississippi River. So he comes out to the Dakotas, and he's telling me a story. And he come and saw me 3-4 times during the time he was there. And I spent an hour with him every time. And he told me, he's like, Jim, he's like, the only regret I have is not coming out here 20 years sooner. He's like, this is the most amazing thing. He said, I doubt I'll ever get back here, but he said, this is the most amazing thing. If he wouldn't have told me he had an element, you would have never known. People they just relax. They're out there to have fun. It's awesome.
What an awesome thing to be a part of.
It is. It's the best event. I love all my events, but that's by far the best. And it's the people aspect of it.
How many years have you been doing that?
4.
Wow.
We've done it for so 4. Cool. It's fun. It's this.
Love that.
Like I said, if you've never been to Sturgis, the problem with Sturgis is it's very expensive. But if you've never been to Sturgis, whether you ride a bike or don't, you should just go. Just go one time, and you'll just be like, holy smokes, this is the greatest thing of all time.
My bike has pedals.
My buddy was actually just there probably about 2-3 weeks ago or something like that. And he said the same thing. It's just an amazing experience. You got to do it one day. So
yeah, it's the positive energy that is there is so fantastic. Like nobody's upset. It's such a positive place to be. You just feel really good about yourself, and being part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Nice.
So I want to kind of go, I want to keep going back to your menu, because I always love to know about like your food and stuff like that. So you make some killer briskets, some great pulled pork, stuff like that. What about your sides? What kind of sides do you have?
So out of the trailer, we run 4 things. We run brisket, pork, tri-tip. And then we are very,
you had me at tri-tip.
Very famously known for our barbecue nachos, which you can throw any meat on there in any array you want. And that's it. We do 4 things. We just do it very, very well. And then, catering, you just tell us what you want and we'll cook it. It's, this last wedding my wife did, we did a pasta bar with a homemade Alfredo sauce, a red sauce, and grilled chicken. And, so we do anything. And then through the venue in the winter, when we open up on Friday nights, we cook a two menu option. Mm-hmm. So a meat, a chicken, usually a beef, a chicken, or a beef pork. Mm-hmm. And then we'll do just a tremendous amount of sides, whatever our customers will request. Hey, we want this week. All right, fine. You set the menu. We'll make it happen.
Oh, wow.
Even if I can't cook it, I have 4 days to figure out how to cook it. I haven't changed the menu yet, but so.
Dude, that's awesome, because I can't tell you how many times I've tried to book events and they'll go like, this is it. Like, this is what we do. If you don't like it, bye.
No,
That's amazing.
my biggest fear is doing some girl's wedding. I call it Princess Day. Doing some girl's wedding and serving her a bad experience. I would feel horrible about it.
Right.
You know, and if you want macaroni and cheese and cheesy potatoes and another starch on it, who am I to tell you no? It's only a little bit of work.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's just a little bit. Yeah, it sucks at times to do some of that, but they don't know that it sucked. For them, it was the greatest thing that ever happened to them.
I mean, but you've got a customer for life. That's like somebody who's going to associate your brand with only good things.
Yeah, and that's we want our brand to matter. You know, we want our brand to matter. We want what we do to matter. And if we make some girl happy because she wanted jalapeno poppers and all this other stuff, then so be it. I don't care.
Yeah.
I mean, I really don't.
I was going to say, you don't make a customer for life. You make a friend for life off that one.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we have so many friends that we've gained over this. It's amazing.
Yeah.
That's awesome. On your social media, I think it was today, there was a question about Steve's going to hate this because he hates pickles and then hates joy in the process, but I love pickles. About whether or not somebody would eat your barbecue nachos with pickles. You say that's a request you get from time to time. Dude, I would crush some pickles on barbecue nachos, okay? I would absolutely crush that.
I would crush pickled jalapenos on those nachos, okay? There's a difference.
We can do that as well. I
was looking at the picture. So, and for those of you out there who would like to play along at home, you should go find Jimmy L's on Facebook because it's awesome. Their feed is always full of yummy food pictures and the places that they'll be and where they're going. But this picture had some dill pickle spears on top of barbecue nachos. But then I was like, oh my God, what if they just got rid of the chips and built the nachos on top of the pickles? Because I would eat that.
So
I would.
So the gal's like, well, will you put a pickle on there? So I put a pickle on there and Tamara was helping me and she threw a pickle on there. I was like, wait, we can't send. This is like a cocktail. You can't send a cocktail with 2 garnishes. You got to put a third. So it was 3 pickles on there.
Oh,
yeah,
that's
pickles have been our demise. You should
not a martini. You can't just put 1 olive in it and call it done.
Yeah, you should go watch our video on opening pickle jars. Sophia made this amazing video of everybody trying to open stupid pickle jars.
Is it the 5-gallon buckets with the
no? We use Mount Olive gallons.
Oh, so Mount Olive, made right here, Mount Olive, North Carolina. Delicious pickles. So
now I'm looking at your Facebook page right now, and OMG, these are some great pictures. Like your food just looks amazing. So I'm gonna have to go out to wherever you are one day.
We're gonna have to make it a road trip for the pod. I mean,
exactly.
Come out. We'll take good care of you.
Excellent.
Jim, do you eat? Oh, sorry, Steve. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say. Now, Melissa and I always talk about how when we're cooking, we're having a good time. There's always music playing in our backgrounds. You know, like whether it's whatever music makes us happy because it carries into the food. What's the music that you all listen to that carries into y'all's food?
I leave it. So I go back to my teaching days. So I had a rule in the shop. The first person in the shop got to select the music.
Whoa.
Whatever it was. So I leave it up to the kids.
Oh my God. It could be terrible.
Maya's in, it's new country. If Isaac's in, it's a little older country. If Sophia's in, it's a mixture of everything. It just depends.
You scared me for a moment. I thought you were going to say, I recorded all my lectures and we listen to my lectures when we're cooking.
No, I hated lectures. I told my guys I had a class, the worst class ever. I had a 100% lecture class, which sucks. And it was right after lunch, which sucked even worse. And it was a term. So it was August and September and it was hot. And so I told the kids, I was like, okay, here's my rule. Number 1, we have to lecture for 45 minutes. We'll try to take as many breaks as possible. We got to cover what we got to cover because this class is actually important enough. It sets the tone for everything else. So you have to know this stuff. But I said, my lectures are boring. I can be boring. if you fall asleep, tell me you're gonna fall asleep, and we need to take a break, because I would only lecture for 20 minutes, and then we'd vacate for 20 and back, because it just sucks. So no, I did nothing. I did everything spontaneous.
Dude, if Steve wasn't here, I don't know that I could ask you questions for 20 minutes. I mean, it sounds awful. Like, I don't know. Like,
it's tough.
do
There's some
something
amazing
consistent for 20
teachers.
minutes.
One of my favorite things to do when I taught was to go watch some of my coworkers teach. And there were some amazing lecture teachers. I wasn't one of them. I just wasn't one of them.
See, my problem is whenever I do teach like little lectures or seminars or whatever it is that I'm doing, I get so excited that I just repeat myself a lot. And so people will tell me, Steven, you already mentioned that like 4 times. So
Like, great, you're gonna listen again.
Yeah.
Have the microphone and you
I'm going to tell you again. Yeah. So, yeah.
Jim, I was just gonna ask if you do you still eat brisket on the regular, or are you sick of it?
Some. I
Some.
mean, I taste every time I cut. So tomorrow when I cut, I will try every single brisket, because if I don't like one brisket, I'll just throw it away. And so I try every single brisket. I have a hard time ordering brisket at a restaurant. I love brisket.
Sure.
But I have a hard time ordering brisket because nothing irritates me more getting bad brisket and knowing what they have to charge for it.
It's like when like a massage therapist gets a massage, like they can't enjoy it because the whole time they're thinking like, I would have done this, I would have done that, right? Like it's like, right?
But
you know what
like? Come this winter, yeah, we'll do a ton of stuff with brisket, and I'll eat it like brisket over mashed potatoes with gravy, and we do. Yeah. I do it that way, but just to eat a brisket sandwich, no, that's just not.
I figured. I mean, it's hard when you smell something all day. Like I just.
Yeah.
Well, we cook so much brisket. I mean, we had 3 weeks this summer that it was over 5,000 pounds a week.
That's amazing.
Wow.
That is wild.
Yeah.
I don't 5,000 pounds of anything and just like I probably would never eat it again. I'm very iffy about the Thanksgiving meal in total. I worked at a business club that was on the 48th floor of a high rise. And we would, during the time that I was there, we would feed like law firms. We would feed like other floors for Thanksgiving. And it got to the point where like, I'm not going to smell a roasted turkey. Just be like, I'm done. No appetite. Don't want to eat this. Nope. I kind of like the sides better than the turkey, to be honest. But I want them at other times of the year.
I don't know if it's changed you guys, but for me, it's changed on how I eat. So almost no processed stuff anymore. I cook with as many natural ingredients as I can. And, I just, when I go out to eat, I really watch things just because, I'm like, man, I wouldn't serve that. Why am I eating that?
I mean, I think being a part of the business is certainly, it'll give you a more critical eye. And that's not a bad thing at all. I enjoy I had Subway today. I don't care. Like, it was great. All the vegetables were fresh. The meat tasted really fresh. The bread was warm. It hit the spot. I didn't have to make it, Like,
no, I know.
We know, Judge.
So
yeah, my wife and I eat out literally every single day.
But I know what you mean. There are some things where I'm just like, I used to crush a lot of McDonald's in my 20s. I don't eat McDonald's. I'm gonna draw the line in certain places.
Now, what kind of woods do you all use whenever you're smoking all your meats?
Yes.
I use charcoal and hickory, and that's it.
Okay.
I don't ever change.
When you ask that, Steve, it's like it's going to be the one question he'll refuse to answer. He's going to be like, "No."
No, like I said, I don't care. What do I have to? I have nothing to gain by not telling you.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, I'm not your competition because I don't have the patience to do 5,000 pounds of anything. Okay, like
it does.
I barely had the motivation to put shoes on today, Jim. I'm not coming for your barbecue business.
Yeah, no, even the people that want to get into it Like I said,
Mhm.
you want to compete. Great.
Yeah.
Let's go. I don't care. I'm competing with me. I'm competing
Yeah.
with,
Yeah.
my team. My job is to make sure my team is motivated to do a better job than they did yesterday.
Absolutely.
And I have 3 20-year-olds that are crushing this thing.
Now, what got you onto hickory and charcoal? Like, I'm sure you experimented quite a bit with all these different woods and whatnot. Like, how long did it take for you to find like this is what I like?
So my neighbor, we were neighbors for 10 years, Jason Morrow. He taught me how to smoke. And Jason said, Jim, I'm going to tell you the rule to this. Nobody can cook if they can't cook on
inhale.
hickory.
Sorry.
So
Okay.
that's where I started. That's what I learned on. He's like, if you can cook on hickory, you can cook. And then
Nice.
it's worked. It's good. I've never changed.
Nice. I mean, I started with mesquite. Yeah, I still use mesquite. I'm not gonna lie, I can't cook very well with charcoal. I just, I'm coming around to it, but to each their own. So that's awesome. I've tried messing with other woods, and I just find myself going back to mesquite every time.
I don't think
And
I
for
actually
us, some of it's
like. Go ahead.
trying
Sorry.
to get stuff.
Yeah.
Our access is, you guys have mesquite and white oak everywhere. Pecan. We don't.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. That's also a really good call out too. I didn't think about that.
Yeah, it kind of depends on where you are, to be honest. About charcoal, excuse me, I don't think I actually learned how to cook on a grill until I got a job in a restaurant. And it's something that would have really, and then it was a wood fire for when I worked for Houston's. And so I even now it's kind of intimidating, and I've been doing this for a long time. So I'm like, yeah, it's really not I don't think so.
No, when we were first married, they had just opened a Walmart here. That was a long time ago. But anyway, they
you guys
had
have the wedding anniversary celebration and like ribbon cutting at the same time, or
no.
Sorry, go ahead.
But they had a Weber charcoal grill for $10.
Good Lord.
that was in our budget, barely. So we bought it.
Just the dome with the one vent, right?
Yeah. We bought it. I still have that same Weber.
Yes.
It's at my lake house, and we've been married 25 years.
Aww.
And we've had to put some new grates in it, and that's how I learned how to use charcoal, because we couldn't have.
You didn't have an option, like you had to do,
anything else at that time. So,
dude, I love that. I love that. That's awesome. It's like the little grill that could.
Yeah. No, we still have it
forever now.
Still have it.
I love that.
And now, again, I find myself going back to your menu. I heard you say that you had tri-tip and all that. So do you cook your tri-tip like to a certain like medium rare? Do you cook it like they do in California, like the brisket and all that kind of stuff? Or how do you prepare that?
I try to cook it really not super rare, but barely medium rare. Does that make sense? So it's very, very
like 120.
It's just barely. It's not medium rare, but it's not rare. It's like
a prime rib.
And then I have a reheating process that just touches it off perfect, and it stays tender and good.
It's so underrated.
Now it's so expensive.
Yeah.
My wife's like, God, tri-tip went down a quarter. It's $9 a pound now. We used to buy it for $4.
Yeah.
But it's such an amazing cut of meat. I love it.
Oh yeah, most definitely. And are you one of those, you're like, I got to get only prime, or do you do choice, or like what grade do you normally go with?
So if I'm going to cook a prime rib, it has to be a prime grade.
Right.
Rib. Nothing irritates me more than somebody serving me.
Here's your choice prime.
And it's prime rib. Yeah.
Prime rib, which is rib roast.
That is a rib roast.
That is a rib roast. But everything else we use choice for the most part. We move so much volume though.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, people are going to disagree with me. A select brisket's pretty good.
You can make it good. Yes,
no
I agree.
Disagreement here, because barbecue started out as a poor man's food. So
Yeah.
Like, why are you going to use prime?
Yeah, we do. Well, and for us, because we are in Nebraska and we're the #2 beef producing state behind Texas, I cook all Greater Omaha beef.
Nice.
And crazy enough it is, Omaha is all the way on the other end of the state, and just a couple miles from town here, one of my buddies has their cattle enrolled into the Greater Omaha program, in the Hereford program. So I know I'm cooking local beef.
Oh, I love that. Dude, it has to taste so much better than anything you could import.
And it's funny that you say that you can make a select brisket taste good. There's a barbecue spot in Texas. I cannot remember it right now to save my life, but they cook with only select briskets, and they are like one of the top barbecue restaurants like in the state of Texas, if not like they say the country, but that's a big stretch because there's so many great barbecue spots. But like people come from all over the world, and they're only open like once a month or something like that.
Steven, is it Snows? Maybe.
I think so.
Yeah.
It's something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah. So I agree with you. You don't have to have a prime brisket to make it taste good. You can totally go select and kill it, So
I don't really like a prime brisket. I don't like the fat in a prime brisket. It doesn't render the same. I like the way a choice renders, and I like cooking big briskets. If a brisket's going to give you trouble, a small brisket is, I don't know why, but I think it's just the lack of fat in a small brisket, where a brisket doesn't cook as well as a big brisket does.
Yeah. Well, because it's a low and slow deal. I mean, for the most part. So it's just kind of the bigger, the better you're going to get better.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you trim it all the way down? I mean, it'll baste itself, right? So, but you said that you take a lot.
A single piece of fat off my brisket when I cook it. Never have.
Not beforehand. Okay.
Yeah. So I don't have the time.
Yeah.
That started with not having the time. So I trim it after and try to render as much of that off as possible. And like I said, I have my brisket cutting process completely automated now, except for the slicing. And this winter I'll have the slicing process automated.
Dude, that is so amazing.
Wow.
Are you like, maybe you're gonna market that to somebody else?
No. You know how many hours I have cutting brisket? I want everybody to suffer. I'm never ever going to share that.
Some people just want to watch the world burn.
You're like a brisket boomer. You're like every other generation suffered. Everybody's gonna suffer.
Yeah, no, it's this. I bet you automating my brisket cutting process probably saved me 1,000 hours this summer.
I don't doubt it.
Nice.
It is just unreal. And pork's easy. You can pull pork because you get pork to the right temperature.
Wolverine claws and
yeah, you can go in with the claws or whatever. I've got an automated. I designed, haven't built it yet, but I've got an amazing automated pork puller that we're gonna get built and have ready to go for this winter. So
nice,
dude.
My kitchen's gonna consist of conveyor belts, slides, machines.
You're going full on AI.
Hey, that's what I did. We automate stuff. Why not automate my process?
Dude. Pretty soon it's just gonna be like a hologram of you at the fair on the truck.
No.
With like a QR code for like payment.
Yeah, if we can figure out how to get me hologrammed in and I can sit on my boat in the summer and Tamaya and Sophia and Isaac can run this thing, that would be amazing.
Listen,
but I don't think they're going to let me sit on the sidelines.
I don't think you're too far off, though.
No. Well, I like to be part of it, even though they do the majority. They do all the work. Who am I fooling here? But I still like to be there, and be around. And the girls are always on me. They're like, come on, Jim, people want to see you. They want to talk to you. They want to hear you. I'm like, man, just keep me in the kitchen.
This is why I'm in the kitchen.
That's right. Keep me in the kitchen.
I don't want to talk to people. There are a lot of us like that. There's the reason I don't work in the dining room. So
Tamaya, though, she gets it because she bartends.
Yep.
And one thing she took away from, because in the winter we have an amazing venue, very nice, very subtle, and we do crafted stuff. And really it's a tribute to stuff we eat when we travel all summer. Because we don't go to chains very rarely unless it's late and that's the only thing open. So we go to all these private places and get to see the best of it. So we bring it here.
Yeah.
Well, Tamaya has brought cocktails. Like the cocktails that she makes are absolutely to die for. And then my wife makes all homemade desserts. We had done a wedding not this winter, the winter past. And one of our friends was in, I think it was snowing crazy and there wasn't a lot of people in. And he's like, Rhonda, I saw you bring dessert in. She's like, yeah, I'll go cut you a piece. So here my wife walks out with this big chocolate mousse type whipped cream top dessert.
Yeah. And
then ever since then, she is a cheesecake dessert making fool. And people will come in. They'll come in and they'll eat and they'll love the food, but they come in for the drinks and they will call and place an order and reserve a piece of dessert because she only does 2 pies or whatever that night.
Oh, so that's insane. I love that. I like how on your website it says we can bake as good as your favorite neighborhood grandma, I think is what it says, or something similar, which I was like, yes, that's awesome.
Yeah. No, it's everything homemade, and that's our deal. If we're going to serve you something, we're going to make it. Friday, when we run our restaurant, so we open our restaurant the first Friday in January, shut it down the first Friday in May. We're only open Thursdays and Fridays. This year we're going to do barbecue night on Thursdays, and then Fridays we'll do our 2-meal option. But it's not a restaurant experience like you guys. We just cook you dinner. You get whatever we're having for dinner. That's what you're getting for dinner. And
I love that idea.
Yeah.
We are not restaurant people. So you're not in and out of Jimmy L's in 20 minutes, unfortunately, but we're getting better at that. But anybody that runs a restaurant is a restaurant person. My hat's off to you, because that has to be the hardest job in the world. So those people that do it and do it well, I admire more than anything.
Well, it's like you said before, it takes a team. Like I'm only as good as my team. So
yeah,
that's it.
It's tough.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, buddy.
Well, it sounds like everything that you're doing, you're doing it well. And like I said, I need to get on my phone after this and plan a trip out there to go see you all. Especially when it comes down. My goodness.
Well, I've never been anywhere above north that direction of Oklahoma, so I kind of need to fix that. I need to get on that.
Well, Nebraska's, so Western Nebraska and Eastern Nebraska are so different animals. Western Nebraska has wheat fields, cows, pastures, and no trees. You get Eastern Nebraska and it's cornfields, trees, and cows, so
wow.
It's just way, way different out here. And our towns are so small.
I can't wait. I gotta come try the food truck, and I gotta come try the dining venue. It was a pleasure talking to you, Jim. Is there anything that people should know about where to find you on the internet? Or maybe what you guys are doing next?
You want to find Jimmy L's, the easiest way is to go to our website, jimmyls.com. And then from there, you can get on to all our social media handles are all linked right there.
Nice.
But we just do what we do.
And what's next for travel? This is a down week. Does it keep being a down time, or?
No, now we rotate into fall festivals. So we have 3 fall festivals this weekend, a couple weddings, and then
I love how you say that like it's like a normal weekend. You're like,
it is a normal weekend,
and a couple of weddings is like, that's so mind blowing.
Yeah, we have this beautiful lake house at Lake McConaughey that we never ever use, and my wife reminds me of it every single day. But no, it is. It just, when I stopped teaching and I went to work for myself, what I learned was I love to work. And the more I can work, the more happier I am. So I love to work 20 hours a day.
It is like that for some folks. I think I got out of my 20-hour phase, but I think 12 is like the sweet spot.
Oh, I'd go nuts at 12.
Sometimes it's 13, but yeah.
Like today, I had nothing to do, and I just kind of tinkered around, and then I'll throw briskets on here a little bit, and I bet you I go to bed at 1 a.m.
I'm not about that life anymore. But hey, it takes, like everybody has to play their part in this biz. And it sounds like you're the guy to do that because, it takes somebody to keep all the wheels turning and all the people fed. But I like to eat. So I got to get out there and try it out. Jim, it was a pleasure. Food fans, you know what to do. Check out foodforthoughtcast.com. You'll find all the information on Jimmy L's personalized guest page. It will live there for as long as the internet lives. So, Jim, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you very much.
Awesome. Yeah.
Thank you guys. You guys do a great job, and glad to be part of this. I really enjoyed it.
We'll have to have you back on for some silly episode, like does your chili have beans in it or not, or something?
Yeah, no, we're all about it. We'll get Maya on that one because she loves to go off on random stuff. So
yeah,
looking forward to it.
Absolutely looking forward to it. Jim, have a great night.
Thank you guys.
All right, thanks.
Bye.
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 That's a wrap for today. Until the next episode of the Food for Thoughtcast, make good food, eat good food, share it, and be kind to one another.
Thanks so much for listening today. You are part of what makes us special, and we are so glad you joined us. Don't forget to rate, subscribe, and leave a review. Just like food, delicious podcasts are better when you share them with others. Come back for seconds wherever podcasts are served, and we'll catch you in the next episode of the Food for Thoughtcast.
You can find us on Facebook and Instagram at the Food for Thoughtcast or at www.foodforthoughtcast.com, where you can link to all podcast players, or you can send us an email at foodforthoughtcmc@gmail.com.